welcome back to part 2 of transforming this home garage into the ultimate Powersports workshop. In part 1, we completed this section of the back wall. We did the window trims. Also in part 1, I talked about using this table saw on this plastic table and how I wanted to make a workbench for this table saw. So here in part 2, we're going to build this workbench for this table saw. I have some plans here, and the table saw we're going to be using is a Milwaukee M18 Fuel 8 1/4 inch table saw. So the workbench that I've designed has used the dimensions of a outdoor patio table cover. And the reason why I want to do that is because when I'm not using it in the shop, I do want to put that patio table cover over it. So it's just like a nice touch. It keeps it protected, whatever. So the dimensions of that are going to be 60 inches long and 33 inches wide. The upper section is going to be 33 inches wide and 42 inches long, and then the lower section that is going to be at the level of the table saw, so the table saw is level with that table, will be about 18 inches by 33 inches. So here you can see a side view of potentially what we're looking at, and from there I've devised a cut list on what I need to do. For the top, I am going to be laminating a top. The base is going to be just 3/4 inch OSB, and then the top is going to be MDF, and then I will edge band that with some cedar trim. All right, so right off the bat here, I've noticed that there's an issue with my measurements, and what I have found is I only measured the top of the table saw here instead of the outside of the fence rails, side to side, which is 20 inches, but I want to give a little bit of room because of how the fence goes on. So I'm going to go to 22 inches. We're going from an 18-inch bottom panel, and we need to get to about 22 to make room for the back piece of that fence there. Honestly, we could probably do 21 because it's okay if the front fence hangs over. Actually might be a little bit beneficial. Like I said though, we do definitely need more than 18 inches. I think I'm gonna stick with the 21 or 22 and change the plans to reflect that. So with those changes made, my top section is actually gonna be 33 by 38 and my lower section is gonna be 33 by 22 to accommodate the table saw now. So now that that looks good, we're gonna move on to cutting boards for the frame here.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Okay, so I do have all my pieces cut here. One thing I do want to do, all these 2x4s come with that rounded edge, that factory edge that they have. I would like to run these all through the table saw, get those squared up, and then we'll move on to assembling this thing. Okay, so we got all the board edges squared up. Factory edges are gone, so let's get to assembling this. All right, so we will be pre-drilling, gluing, and screwing. We're gonna use some Tight Bond 2, some 10 by 2.5 inch screws. So let's get to it. last two supports here, what I need to do is I need to drill some pocket holes in this so I can line it up with this, and that's going to be the other support to our table saw shelf. Alright, so I got both sides done. Now I need to go back, take the measurements, and cut these support boards that go across. Alright, so we need to go ahead and do the pocket holes in the shorter of the two. The shorter of the two are 27 inches, the longer of the two are 30 inches. The reason why we got to do the pocket holes first is because once these boards are in place with the pocket holes, you actually won't be able to get to the pocket holes with the longer boards because they'll be in the way. All right, now that we got the entirety of the frame built, now we can start working on the top. can see we got our plywood lower level of this top to size. I did leave them a little bit extra size because I'm gonna run a flush cut bit with a router along the edge. But yeah, let's get to that. This OSB is actually gonna be screwed in from the top down, and then when I put the MDF on top, it'll be screwed from the bottom up. That's how that's gonna look, and then we'll put the edge banding on it. Now we're gonna glue and screw the MDF on top of this OSB. So I am test fitting the saw right now, and as you can see, I got it pretty well set, and I did have to shim just a little bit to get it just right on my level. Slides across it perfectly. Doesn't catch the edge going on, so I think we're good to go. Go ahead and get this screwed down and probably use it to get the edge banding on. I'm gonna do a quick test rip on this piece of plywood. Try it out. All that's left at this point is to get the casters on it and do that edge banding. Alright, so the edge banding's on. I just want to go around these sharp edges of the upper level with a little bit of a round over on the router. Probably going to be working more up on the upper section, obviously, so I don't really care so much about the table saw table, so I want to go ahead and do that. Alright, so it has been a couple days. I did go ahead and put the casters on and finish the top with just a one coat of polyacrylic. As you can see, workbench turned out great. All I have left to do, put the tools on here. We'll be in business to move on to the next video. Alright, so I did want to mention with the leftover MDF I had, I did go through and make a makeshift bottom shelf for this thing so I can put my miter saw down low. So I'm rotating it around here so you can see it. Again, it's just down there. I'd really like to have it integrated into the workbench, but I just think that the workbench would have to be too big to have it integrated. So for the space that I want this to take up in my garage, this is gonna work perfectly. It's a lot better than I had it before. Before I had to go physically grab each saw, set it up. I'd have to use the table saw on the floor, so on and so forth. So this project's actually gonna help me be a little bit more organized and also a little bit easier for me to do some of the projects that I want to be able to do. So, as always, if you like what you're seeing on my channel, I would really appreciate some support by smashing that subscribe button and leaving me a like. I do appreciate all the support from everyone thus far, and I look forward to making some more videos and getting into the Powersports stuff. But on the next video, we are going to be building the cabinets, and we're going to get this wall cleaned up and hopefully start to be able to organize this shop so we can get back to work on that Powersports stuff.